Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Smith, the special counsel, lost not just former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell's case, which was overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court. Believe it or not, it was. He lost the case against John Edwards, former Democrat who ran for president years back, John Edwards. So I'll read you an article in The Hill. The Edwards case, this boiled down to, quote, did the evidence show beyond a reasonable doubt that Edwards knowingly and willfully accepted individual donations designed to, so did he knowingly and willfully accept these donations? Same type of exoneration as what took place with Bob McDonnell. Well, with Bob McDonnell, it was the definition of what amounted to campaign gifts or donations. So what they'll do, and he's done this twice, and he will lose a third time with Trump, the government will accuse with a very broad definition of what the crime is. And then it'll be overturned or eventually appealed. Trump had the power to declassify, There's not a person on the planet who doesn't believe, by the way, and it's in Florida, so that also helps Trump. And there's a judge appointed by Trump in Miami who will allow exculpatory evidence, the jury to see exculpatory evidence. So you'll probably have a mistrial or an acquittal, or if there's a conviction, it'll be overturned. Just like the Virginia governor's conviction by the Supreme Court, or appealed, or it just won't. There won't be a conviction like with Edwards. So he lost two cases. Here you go, Trump. The Hill. Trump's special counsel Jack Smith lost the John Edwards case. What might that mean? That's The Hill. And then CNN, former Governor McDonnell, and being prosecuted by Jack Smith. Former Governor McDonnell, he goes, quote, you're supposed to seek truth and justice, not merely to convict and be tried in the press. We'll have to see how this plays out in the courtroom, because one of the sides is going to really be embarrassed when it comes to evidence. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, because how many people are talking about the fact there is no paper that Trump is waving in the audio? It's not a video. It doesn't exist. They think that's incriminating. They're convicting Trump. Listen to this, of an audio tape where there is no actual paper that's actually classified, document that's actually classified. So here you have a rush to indict somebody while at the same time letting Clinton with top secret intel on servers go. It's about servers. There's no rebuttal to the double standard. You can't just indict Trump on being a former president that declassified information and going after him for owning a classified document he shouldn't have owned, and allow 4 years of a Secretary of State in President Obama's administration, and President Obama knew. This is an illegal act. It's not legal. You cannot have computer servers running outside the United States government. And I can't imagine Hillary Clinton not being the 24 nominee for the Democratic Party. I don't know how that would happen, but I just can't imagine mashed potato brains going another term, especially being indicted. That's after the presidency, because Democrats have opened up the Pandora's box there, but being impeached. So you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where two cases are lost, and they're going for a third case lost. This man is losing major cases, and they're going after Trump only for public relations purposes. There's no way this is about the rule of law when you've already showed a precedent that apparently the Honorable James Comey and others couldn't find a reasonable prosecutor. Everybody on the planet knows they're after Trump. Even Democrats know this. It's not about the rule of law, because if it's about the rule of law, you treat everyone equally. You don't cover for Democrats with servers, and it was never about emails. I wrote about this in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, You can go to hagoodman.com. It wasn't about emails. It was about computer servers siphoning classified data from government locations. How is that even possible? And Clinton wasn't a president with the power to declassify. But earlier today, I did a video, and happy Father's Day to everybody. I did a video talking about how you'd have to prove, how Trump was already working with the Department of Justice. He was already working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice. He was already working with everyone. So, he had attorneys working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and William Barr actually stated in 2022 that it wasn't that big of a deal. That if anything, the DOJ was obstructing its own investigation through leaks. So what takes place is if you're going to convict a former president, you better make sure you have bank statements, emails, and then lies publicly, like with Hunter and Joe. Okay, so you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and you have beneficial treatment taking place, U.S. foreign policy being altered by Biden. And we know this because from his own mouth he stated, and then I forced out a prosecutor and I say you're not going to get $1 billion in loan guarantees. And then we have emails that coincide and money that coincides. And then the rebuttal is, well, that prosecutor wasn't doing his job. That wasn't a U.S. vice president's responsibility or right to force out a prosecutor, because even when he says this to the Council on Foreign Relations, he also tells on himself even more, saying, oh yeah, and then they said I had no power to do so. I said, then he says, call the president. So nobody believed that he had the power to do so. And then the defense, when they say there's a couple Democrats or one Democrat says, oh, well, he was in the first impeachment and they proved that Biden didn't force out a prosecutor for personal gain. You didn't prove anything because we didn't. Trump was impeached because Hunter's laptop wasn't around then. The emails, the contents of the emails within Hunter's laptop weren't around in the first impeachment. So how on earth could you have known the conflicts of interest and the fact that one email says, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? And then, miraculously, a prosecutor is forced out. Before or after the email is completely irrelevant. I mean, you'd have to be a complete fool not to realize what's going on. They're going after Trump because they actually committed crimes. Okay, the great Christopher Hitchens, who I love Christopher Hitchens, even though I'm not an anti-theist or atheist like he is, I love Christopher Hitchens because he wasn't into tribalism. Tribalism didn't consume him. He didn't care left or right. Okay, and I obviously have a partisan viewpoint because, and he said, just because you're partisan doesn't mean you're right. You can have a distinct viewpoint. The difference with me is I don't disown friends and family for voting Biden. I don't care if they vote Biden. I don't care if they're Democrats. It's mainly wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats who purge themselves of any supporter of Trump. So who is part of the cult? People like myself and yourself watching who really don't care what your political views are. I don't care. It's the wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats that disown friends and family, that argue during Thanksgiving and during Christmas and during New Year's. It's generally not the voter for Trump that argues at dinner parties and, disown and shuns friends. It's the person that is so convinced that their liberal ideas are sanctioned by the universe, that they can't even stand a rebuttal, that they get enraged when you point out that, Trump never said this, he never did that, and they actually believe nonsense. But he'll be 0 for 3. He lost with Edwards and McDonnell. Give me your thoughts on the special counsel. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. right now to this channel. Thank you so very, very much, everybody.